Okay, hi. I'm talking about my tiny habit for this semester, which was journaling, and I'm looking at it through the lens of the trans theoretical model. So, the first stage is pre contemplation, which is before I'm thinking about making a change. And so, when I learned about the Life Lab component of the class, my initial System 1 thinking, which is your automatic impulse thinking, was yay, I don't have to go to class. And I immediately was thinking of some crazy habits to try and do, like paying for workout classes every week or running a 10K. And then my System 2 thinking kicked in, and System 2 is your slower regulatory logical thinking that requires mental effort. I thought about how I already am doing so much and I don't have time, and why not just pick something that's going to not be so demanding and something that's just going to be quick and easy to do. So I picked journaling. So now I moved into the contemplation phase where I'm thinking about starting the habit. And I chose journaling because it's a way to reduce stress and improve mental health. And I did a bunch of research, and journaling can help you process your emotions and identify negative thoughts and negative thought patterns and reduce the impact of chronic stress. And we talked about those negative health impacts of chronic stress, like faster aging and disrupted sleep cycle. And so this falls within the cognitive behavioral framework, which says behavior change needs interventions in thinking or emotions. So the behavior I was trying to change was the way that I cope with stress. The intervention was journaling as a way to change my thinking in terms of identifying those negative thought patterns. My tiny habit was not very SMART, and SMART stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, task-focused, and self-determined. And so my original goal was to just journal every day as a way to reduce stress, be more reflective, and this is a subjective and it's a process goal, which means it was just a general statement of intent. It's not measurable, and it focused on small-scale actions to reach the desired outcome. And it was not very realistic or specific, as I said, so it was not very SMART. And then I moved into the preparation phase where I'm about to start journaling. And so I went out and bought a new notebook and new pens in my notebook. And this is a form of external regulation within the motivation theory. And so external regulation is when you do something to get a reward or avoid punishment. And so my reward was a new notebook. So then I moved into the action phase where I actually started journaling. And the self-determination theory says that people seek out challenges that will meet at least one of three psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and social relatedness. And I think my original goal addressed autonomy. If anything, it didn't really address anything, which is why it didn't work for me very well. So I already talked about behavioral motivation, how I was motivated by a notebook. And then I was also motivated to avoid the punishment of a bad grade in class. And so I started to journal once a week. And the pros of that was I did feel better afterwards when I would do it. But I also kept forgetting. And one thing that bothered me was my mind would move faster than my hand was able to write. And so that just kind of frustrated me and pissed me off, and so I didn't really want to be journaling. I did eventually fail and stop journaling, and the false hope syndrome is why people try to change and fail, yet they keep trying. And 4 sources of failure are amount, speed, ease, and effects. And so my source of failure, I think, stemmed from the effects and the speed. I thought that I would immediately feel better after journaling, and I wasn't feeling that immediate effect, so I was just not motivated to keep doing it. And so then I decided to make some changes. I left my notebook out by my bedside so that I could see it, and this is a form of stimulus control. And then I also told myself that once or twice a week was enough, and I gave up my all or nothing mentality of doing it every day. One cognitive error that I had was, as I said, I thought it would help right away. And it was also very tempting for me to just keep putting it off because there wasn't some ongoing check-in that I had to do, and I could just keep procrastinating it. I had a renewed effort during the month of November when I found a TikToker who did a 30 days of journaling, like a journal with me type of series, and I would watch those every day, and it allowed me to be more purposeful with my writing. It also addressed my need for social connectedness from the self-determination theory, and it gave me a vicarious experience, and I was able to gain the knowledge of how to journal purposefully by watching her do it. And this is a source of self-efficacy for me, and self-efficacy is the belief that one is capable of performing actions required to achieve specific goals. My self-efficacy definitely increased as the month went on because I felt more confident in my journaling. I felt like I knew what to write about. My experience can be looked at through moderators and mediators. And moderators are things that I can change about myself, like my education, my personality, my stage of life that I'm in. And mediators I can change, like my outcome expectations and my social support, which are things I did change to overcome barriers. And my biggest barrier was I didn't know if I was doing it right because I wasn't seeing immediate results, and I didn't feel confident and didn't have self-efficacy when I first started. And then also another barrier I had was a lack of enjoyment, which was internal, and it was genuine because it felt like a chore and pointless until I found some more direction and I found people to support me. In terms of maintenance, I do think I want to try keep going to this to an extent. I always felt lighter and freer after, and I could see how it could lead to lower stress levels. One major lesson I learned was that writing things down helps me organize my thoughts and feelings, and having an outlet is good for me to be able to move on from things that happened in the past and feelings I may be holding on to. Another thing I learned about myself was that I'm more inclined to stick to a habit when I actually enjoy doing it, which is kind of like a duh, but I was actually able to enjoy the journaling when I was more open with myself and honest, and I had some direction. And I think that I learned that journaling is definitely it's a skill, and it's a good idea to have some direction when you're first starting out.